Hi everyone, and welcome to the second part of this video is dealing with future time, with different ways of expressing future time in English. As I say there, hey, pay a lot of attention because in this video we're going to be working with future continuous and future perfect simple. Let's say the most complex future tenses in English. So, well, let's get the ball rolling. If you remembered, in my previous video, I explained present simple with that future value. I taught as well future simple, also known as will or want plus the infinitive. Be going to remember this structure where be must always appear conjugated. Present continuous, the verb to be conjugated as well, plus the verb with ing. But it's going to be in this video where I'm going to work with the complex future tenses. So the future continuous and the future perfect simple. It's true that future perfect continuous also exists, but due to its complexity, it is not widely used in English nor in Spanish, so I'm somehow going to avoid it. So in the same way I summarized the different ways in which we can express future time, let me somehow refresh it. So first of all, we talked about present simple and how it is used to talk about timetable or scheduled events when we talk about these present simple with future value. With future simple or will, we use it in three different occasions to talk about predictions based on a crystal ball, something that is not going to happen, is not quite sure. We also use it to talk about instant decisions, remember, something that you do not plan beforehand, and also to talk about promises and offers. If these predictions are based on evidences, then we use be going to. So somehow the prediction is more likely to happen. If instead of instant decisions, we talk about plans or intentions, and then there's an intention to do something, then we will be using be going to. Finally, if those plans are not mere intentions, but rather fixed plans, we could be using the present continuous with, as always, this future value. I introduced these different simple or less complex future, ways to express future time with the example of the wedding. If I invite you to my wedding, the first thing you get is in the wedding card. You'll see something like the wedding starts at 12. Fixed timetable, el cartelito que me aparecería pegado en la puerta del sitio donde me caso, okay? So remember, be reminded this one does not appear quite often. Este no aparece mucho, entonces tampoco nos volvemos locos de cara al examen. If I'm talking about the first time I fall in love with a boy, I was imagine 12 years old, and I say to my best friend something like, oh, I will marry John in the future. Well, it's not likely that that's going to happen, ¿vale? Es muy probable que eso no ocurra porque tienes 12 años, mi vida, y la vida da muchas vueltas. Entonces, como no es probable, hablamos de una predicción basada en mi bola de cristal, algo que es lo que I think, okay? I think. And, well, life could somehow change your thoughts. But if there's a ring, si tengo una evidencia y hay un anillo, porque John ha hincado rodilla, then I am going to marry John. Me voy a casar con John. Por supuesto que pueden pasar cositas y que no me case con John. Es probable, bueno, es posible, pero ya tengo mi anillo, ya hay una evidencia, entonces esto ya es una intención, es un plan o al menos algo mucho más seguro que lo que yo mostraba con Will. Yet, if everything's ready and I am getting married the 18th of June, that means everything's ready. I have the church, I have the restaurant, I've sent all the invitations and I am getting married. Me caso 100% el día 28 porque tengo todo preparado. Remember that with the one about the rings, it was only a plan or an intention. I don't have everything ready yet, but I have it when I use the present continuous. So these are somehow the simple or the least complex tenses. But let me start working with the complex ones. So first of all, we need to talk about the future continuous. So as we've been talking about a present continuous, a past continuous, there's also a future continuous tense. También hablamos de un futuro continuo, ¿vale? Que como todos los tiempos continuos, tendrá ese verbo con ing. Let me explain it. So Future continuous. Well, that's the structure. If you remembered in previous videos, we learned how we build the present continuous and the past continuous. Si recordáis, el presente continuo se formaba con el verbo to be en presente, am, is o are, y el verbo con ing, porque es un tiempo continuo. Si hablamos del pasado continuo, lo utilizábamos con el verbo to be en pasado, was o were, y el verbo con ing, porque es un tiempo continuo. Pues ¿cómo narices voy a formar el future continuous? As you can see there, con la forma del verbo to be en futuro y el verbo con ing. Pero tenemos un problema, tal y como expliqué en el vídeo anterior, cuando hablamos de futuro no tenemos tiempos como tal, no puedo añadir ningún tipo de sufijo a ese verbo to be para hablar de futuro, pero sí que puedo añadir una cosa, y es la partícula o la palabra o el verbo modal, como lo queráis llamar, will, y en negativa pues será want. Así que tengo que utilizar will o want al principio, que recordad era igual para todas las personas, mantengo ese be que no cambio, porque siempre va a ser be, nunca se va a conjugar, por eso no aparece con estrellita porque no se conjuga, y después since we are talking about a continuous tense, we maintain the main verb in its ing form, okay, what it's also known as the present participle. This said, we are going to use the future continuous to talk about things that will be in progress in the future, cosas que estarán ocurriendo en el futuro, una especie de flash forward. Yo me imaginaré a la persona, ¿vale?, haciendo eso. No es una cosa que yo estaba haciendo en el pasado, ni una cosa que estoy haciendo ahora, sino una cosa que estaré haciendo en el futuro. Y ya he metido también la traducción en español. If I say something like, at this time next week, y cuidado con esa pista que es muy común del future continuous, at this time next week, we will be doing the final exam. So if I ask you, how do you imagine like people do it there? You're going to imagine people doing the exam. Te imaginarás a la gente ahí, dale que te pego haciendo el examen. Pero estamos hablando de algo que será continuo, que estará en progreso en el futuro. Y ahí tenéis la gráfica. Okay, there you have the timeline. It's something that will be in progress, que estará en progreso en el futuro. Me imagino el futuro y a esa persona haciendo esa acción. There you have another example. I'll be meeting the board tomorrow morning. Vale, pues entonces mañana por la mañana me imagino que eso estará ocurriendo, ¿vale? Que estaré quedando con los boards. Okay, does it make sense? So the future continuous is going to be used to talk about something that will be in progress in the future. As I was saying, pay attention to these kind of structures, okay, like at this time next week, tomorrow morning, and these kinds of things. And do not forget the structure, will or want plus be, always be como un bloque, ¿vale? Siempre be, and then the verb with ing. And finally, let me cover future perfect or future perfect simple. If the word simple doesn't appear, it means that it's always going to be simple. As I was saying, it is true that there's also a possibility to talk about future perfect continuous, but I'm going to be to skip it because of its complexity. Okay? This said, let me teach you how to build and how to use the future perfect simple tense. So, future perfect simple, we've covered in our previous videos some tenses that were also called perfect. And when we talk about perfect tenses, they always have two important things. They present some form of the verb have, and then the verb, the main verb, appears in its past participle form. This said, the structure of the future perfect simple is going to be the following. We are going to use will or want plus have, okay, because it's a future perfect. So we need to insert the have as a block. El have va a ir como un bloque, pero al ser un tiempo de futuro, aparecerá en el futuro. ¿Cómo narices hago el have en futuro? Pues poniendo delante will or want. Ahí lo tenéis. And since the tense is a perfect one, I need to maintain the past participle form. Remember, if the verb is a regular one, I added ed, but if it's irregular, I need to check the third column of the verbs. ¿Vale? Recordad, si el verbo es irregular, me tengo que ir a la tercera columna de los verbos irregulares. This said, we are going to use the future perfect for things that will have finished, okay, things that will be finished at a certain point in the future. Cosas que se habrán cumplido, que se habrán terminado, que se habrán hecho, y ya meto la traducción de este tiempo en un momento en el futuro, ¿vale? For instance, by the end of the class or by the end of this video, be careful with this by, whatever, we will have learned all the future tenses. Una vez que acabe este vídeo o una vez que acabe la clase, habremos aprendido todos los tiempos de futuro, ¿vale? El otro era estaremos aprendiendo y pistas con at, no sé qué, no sé cuánto, pero siempre que tenemos by suele ser este, ¿vale? Entonces hablamos de cosas que se habrán cumplido. For instance, here you have another example. I will have finished the report before the deadline. Es decir, si el deadline es el 20 de, yo qué sé, de junio, ¿vale? Pues para ese momento pondré un check porque habré terminado el report antes de ese día. Es decir, una cosa que para un momento del futuro se habrá cumplimentado, se habrá completado. Okay? That's the use of the future perfect simple. Great. So let's practice a little bit. Now that you already know the structures and the uses and so on, try to complete this exercise using either future continuous or future perfect. Supposing you've already done the exercise, let me check it fast and together, commenting on important issues. So first of all, as I was saying, if you find by, watch out, okay, because it's possible that you're going to be using future perfect. And that's the case, in fact, in the first one. By the time we get to the party, en el momento en el que lleguemos a la fiesta, fijaos, me estoy yendo a un momento en el futuro, en esa timeline de futuro me voy a un momento, Bob will have eaten everything. Sorry, eso se habrá cumplido, se habrá comido todo para el momento en el que lleguemos a la fiesta, es decir, no habrá nada cuando lleguemos. Then, this time tomorrow, es decir, en el ahora de mañana, no puedo decir de otra manera ese ahora de futuro, but it's a quite common way. So this time tomorrow, they will be flying to London. Y entonces, en el ahora de mañana, me los estoy imaginando volando a Londres, me los estoy imaginando realizando la acción, esa acción que estará en progreso para un momento en el futuro. Underline all of these clues, okay, because they are quite common. The first one for future perfect and the second one for future continuous. Then you can borrow my laptop. I will not be using it this weekend, or I won't be using it this weekend. No lo estaré usando esta semana. Perfect. Sue is absolutely sure she will have got promoted by the end of this year. Entonces está totalmente segura que para el final de año le habrán ascendido, ¿vale? Y para el final de año, check, se hace un check a lo que va a ocurrir. Where will you be spending Christmas this year? It's possible as well to say here, where will you spend, ¿vale? También tiene sentido utilizar un futuro simple normal, pero no es el caso porque estamos hablando de futuro continuo y futuro perfecto, pero sí, podría ser posible. What about the next one? Mr. Brown, will you have checked our test by next week? Eso es un poco lo que siempre preguntamos a los profes. ¿Tendrás corregidos los exámenes para la semana que viene? Vale, pues si la respuesta es sí, es que para este momento en el futuro la acción se habrá completado. Future perfect. Don't call Tim at night. At 9, sorry. He will be watching finals. Okay, so I imagine Tim doing that action. Okay. Then I'm afraid we will not or we won't have finished working on this project by the deadline passes. Once again, the same thing, the same clue. My plans for the weekend, I will be studying as usual. This is basically how life is a piece of shit, basically, but well, that thing. So by 3 p.m., I will have sent these reports. Me pongo un deadline para las 3, ¿vale? Pues para las 3 esa acción se habrá complementado. Entonces en mi to-do list, pues ahora me pongo un tick. Hurry up, they will have sold all the tickets by tomorrow, ¿vale? Habrán vendido ya todos los tickets. And in a year, Carlos will have moved to Poland and set up his own company, ¿ok? So, eso se habrá complementado, se habrá hecho en un año, ¿ok? We'll be moving and we'll be setting perhaps would also make some sense, okay? But somehow what you've noticed is that when we are using future continuous, it's quite common to find by, que es una manera de marcar esa cruz, ¿no? Para este momento, vale, pues marco mi cruz en esa timeline, en la parte del futuro. Y luego, pues cuando llegue el momento, ya se habrá cumplimentado, ¿vale? Sin embargo, cuando hablamos de futuro continuo, hablamos de algo que podemos ver en progreso en el futuro, ese flash forward del que os comentaba, vamos, del que hablaba anteriormente, ¿ok? And well, this is somehow everything. And as always, after watching this video, you must be able to describe the different uses as well as the structure of the future continuous and the future perfect simple tense. They are somehow a bit complex, but my advice is to try to remember an example. I think that the examples I introduce here are quite visual and easy to remember, and they will help you. Remember that they have different important words and everything must be included, okay? And finally, you must be able as well to distinguish and to use properly both tenses. You've somehow proved your knowledge on this issue in the previous slides, but you can still keep on practicing because as always, practice makes perfect. And as always, you may find a lot of extra practice in the description of the video. And well, in case you still have doubts, remember that I'm going to be available via email. It's always a pleasure to answer all your doubts. And well, this said, this is just the end of the video. I hope you're now able to deal with exercises about future time. And well, this said, enjoy the day, have a lovely day, and see you soon.